This is Jamie Rosenthal, your host with Roots Down Regenerative AF Podcast. This is season 3. We are here to make climate action doable, visible, and even fun, so every urbanite feels invited to this Regenerative AF party. All right, hey, I am Jamie Rosenthal. I'm your host of Regenerative AF Podcast. Today we're doing a mashup, GPB. We got Amanda with us. Got all these lights, which make me a little bit nervous, but here we are. So we're going to get right into our conversation. I want to welcome our guest, Amanda. So
Jamie.
we've known each other for a little bit. Take us back to the beginning of our friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, if I'm remembering right, we were both at CompassionCon, maybe the first year of CompassionCon. And, as any good community engagement person does during a convention or a festival, you walk the tables and you meet people and you try to make connections. And I think that's where we met.
That's right.
And learning about Roots Down and everything you guys are doing. And, GPB isn't just in the environmental space, right? But I can be in that space. There's a lot of connections we can make. And so, when we had some more content to connect with, I think we were able to get something going. And so, it's been really great. We did a Wild Hope screening where we had a great panel that you set up at Manuel's Tavern.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. So, I'm excited to be here for your third season and talk.
Yeah, we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
But this is a great way to kick things off. So thanks for having me here. Really much appreciated.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your history. I want the audience to know who you are and where you come from. We know you work for GPP.
Yeah.
So what do you do for them? And tell us a little bit about where you started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have a public library background. So that's why I love libraries. That's where I'm like, yes, got to keep doing with the libraries. But so I did a lot of public library work in Ohio, adults, children's, everything in between, and then moved to Georgia about 10 years ago. And so did some library work down here, but then it's sort of community engagement and outreach became this big thing with libraries. We didn't just want to stay in the four walls, right? We wanted to get out. We wanted to connect to communities. And I found that piece of my work was I was passionate about it. And so when this community engagement at Georgia Public Broadcasting came up, I leapt for it. I love the idea that both public libraries and public media are resources for people that we can share, and we're part of this bigger community. So it wasn't much of a jump from libraries to public media. I think that's a perfect fit, and it has been. I've loved it. It's great to meet people like you and just be out throughout the state, connecting with communities in engaging ways, and just trying to make an impact or trying to connect with communities in impactful ways. That's what I like to say.
Well, I'm kind of ashamed I didn't know the library history. Here we are talking about the library transition.
I know.
plan.
Yeah, exactly.
I had no idea, but it makes sense. That makes sense. Community. I find these spaces, especially libraries, the community around those spaces haven't changed.
Yeah.
They're multi-generational, and they're just great resource places for people that need everything.
Anything and everything. Yeah, exactly. So Georgia Public Broadcasting, we're kind of based in Atlanta, but we cover the whole state. So a lot of times we will partner with libraries because who knows their communities better than the branches that are in the cities and places. So I still continue to work with libraries, and I think it's just a great partnership that we have.
Tell me a little bit. I want to know a little bit more about how you guys, your unique way of reaching out to community. How do you guys do it?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with making connections and trying to always see how things can connect, because you never know when the connections will happen. But we just go out into communities, and we have a lot of PBS content. We have a lot of films and things that people will be interested in, but we don't want to just drop in a city and hold a screening. We want to connect with that community in a special way that's impactful for them. So we'll reach out to local organizations, nonprofits that have a connection to the content that we're trying to share. And that's how a lot of great partnerships and collaboration happen. We had Wild Hope. We are currently doing a project called Caregiving. And I've been really getting deep with the dementia organizations in Georgia, which they're doing some fantastic things in that space. So I think it's just coming with a generous, you're not trying to take, you're trying to give as much as possible, and how that works and trying to figure out how that works for each individual community, right? Because they're all going to be a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I find that a lot of community work is resource mapping.
Yeah.
And it's being able to tell people where the resources are.
Yeah.
Right. Which has been huge in my work. That's one of the things I really enjoy is kind of like demystifying the processes, right? And keeping things simple.
Yeah.
And then mapping out resources for people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, I mean, there's people in the communities doing the work, whatever it is,
Right.
and then connecting those people together, right? Or like making it'll be more of an impact if you all work together and bring in your strengths and your individual, like what you're working on.
So GPB is a master storyteller. You guys use visual content, audio content to engage audiences, and I find that the Wild Hope series was amazing because I think I'm a visual learner. I'm a visual person, and I find that that's the way I grow compassion towards something that I find that I feel like we need to be solving that problem in society. It's a big one. So tell us some of your goals for how you guys are using that tool, and tell us a little bit more about the Wild Hope series. I want the audience to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so Wild Hope was a series that came out a couple years ago, and it was trying to show that there are people throughout the world doing small things in their communities that are making a big difference. And so that like really sparked us at GPB because that's sort of, what we want to do too. Like everybody can do something. And I think a lot of times people get frozen in not being able to do anything because
analysis paralysis.
Exactly.
Is real.
It gets so big, but then seeing these stories of people who just see a problem and like do what they can to figure it out and fix it, or try to fix it, or take steps towards it, is like really inspiring for people. So so we partnered with Roots Down and we partnered with Science for Georgia because I think they're doing a lot of great work too, and just trying to make those connections. I think I like went off track and I forget what your question was.
No, you answered it perfectly. Okay. No, you did a good job.
And so Wild Hope is great. I think it was just one season. They might try to do more, but right now it's just the one season. But I think, it's so much great storytelling, right? PBS, NPR, like GPB. We have stories from people, like we take the stories and we share them because storytelling is so important in that process of like making a difference, because if people don't know what's going on through stories or through hearing or watching, like they don't know. And so they don't know what they need to do, or, like
how to fix broken stuff.
Yeah. So, And, we just launched a strategic plan at the beginning of this year. And so we have these pillars, and health is one of them, that, it's not just like body health, but like health for the environment, like health, keeping our state and our communities healthy, and however that looks. So I'm sure we'll continue to do things together as more stories unfold.
I love that. That's an interesting correlation between our physical health and the health of our environment. So I think that's really, really fantastic. A lot of the work that we have done, I find that there's so many connections there that I think it is not discussed enough. So I think that's public health, environmental health,
exactly,
and health of your body is public health.
Right. It's all connected. And it's just like, I guess, what sparks a person's need to or want to do something. And
right.
If it's because like, oh man, like I don't feel good, or if it's because, man, and look at that like yard, it could really use some sprucing up with some like environmentally friendly agriculture, like landscaping.
Well, a little bit of interesting little tidbit on that connection. I always like to tell personal stories. I just got back from St. Martin, and one of the beaches we went to had that sargassum. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's not sarcasm. It's sargassum. It's a seaweed that it goes. It decomposes immediately when it hits when it comes on shore.
Interesting.
So it is digesting, and it smells like rotting flesh.
Okay.
And this is a cause of climate change. the people there were like, we've never seen anything like this before. And then we did some research because we had to leave the place we were at and move to another beach where it wasn't going on, because we heard that it is bad for your physical health, for your pulmonary health. It's not good for your lungs. And I was like, good God.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. That's something I've heard about this seaweed, and it's been almost at every beach trip for the last 5 years. And it's
Yeah.
gotten really bad over the last 10, but this is an environmental impact that has happened that affects our public health.
Yeah.
And fishing and everything else. So I think, to say drawing those correlations are really, really important. People don't really know that. So I find Wild Hope so beautiful. The cinematography is absolutely stunning. It's really, really beautiful. So tell us a little bit more. So you said you guys are thinking about another season.
Well, so we just sort of like, Wild Hope was like a show that was produced not by us, but we had like a grant to like bring it to the community. So, I mean, through our successful grants, I think they use that as evidence that maybe they need to do another season. They are working on shorts, and I think you can find those on YouTube. But like the long series, who knows? I mean, I think there's definitely a place for it, and I think we could all benefit from learning more stories of Wild Hope. But yeah.
Storytelling, this whole podcast and the conversation I want to have is around storytelling and how important it is, especially for people that are losing hope.
Yeah.
Right? Our climate change is a huge issue. It is. I think it compounds in the urban space because we're all here, we're all together, we're all feeling it all at once. But I feel this is why I do what I do with the podcast. I feel that storytelling is so important in how we solve these issues. I find that Wild Hope and GPB and showing leadership in that is extremely important. Tell us other ways that GPB is doing some unique stuff in the climate space where you guys are using storytelling or your voice to raise these issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think storytelling, and like the three words that I sort of like bring around like storytelling are connections and community. And so I think it's important that like storytelling helps build those connections that then like can inspire a community or rally a community together. So I think Wild Hope was like the last big project we did around like climate. But, we have a news team that's always on it, that's always like trying to tell that story. So that's sort of a different part of it, right? Like I come from a community engagement perspective where we're like, here, let's share. But like, our news team is always staying abreast of like what's going on. So I think that's like the most current and relevant thing that we continue to do is like draw attention to it through stories and news. And I don't know if there's anything like any content coming out, but we're always like going to be willing and accepting to like do more engagement around it.
Great. Yeah. I'd love to help
Yeah.
in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
there could be something really great at the libraries that we could partner on.
No, absolutely. That's such a great story to tell, right? I mean, I think the library space and like people being inside and outside the library, right? But the library as a place, I kind of got really like, go outside the walls and like meet the community. But then you want them to come back to the library, right? And you want them to enjoy the space and like use it as a community builder, as like one of the last like neutral territories that everybody is welcome. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic story.
Yeah. So, I mean, part of our transition plan that we wrote, we incorporated storytelling and community engagement as it's like the main part of the program. Because a lot of them see a transition plan and they think changing the landscape. I'm like, no, we need to change mindsets.
Yeah.
We need to literally change minds. So, and the best way to do that is through community engagement. So we've partnered with organizations. There's a company called Climate Fresk. I'm giving them a shameless plug.
Nice.
Have you heard
Do
of them
it.
before?
No.
They were at the conference. They break down climate change in a scientific way through a card game. And it's very interactive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are really like unique ways to tell people about climate change or help them understand it.
Yeah.
So we're partnering with them, and I've kind of work them into our plan as well. So it'd be great to have you guys come out in some way, shape, or form and help educate people and help bring awareness
Yeah.
to some of these issues.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I mean, I think communities are so important, and it's that's like such an obvious thing to say, but I feel like people feel like they're lacking that connection with their community, and there's not many places left where people can feel that way. Libraries are one of them. We hope to rally people through like GPB engagement events in their communities, but I think when people feel connected, that's when like more inspiring change can happen. So yeah, I'm on board.
this
Great.
is Roots Down, Regenerative AF Podcast, and we're looking for sponsors. Yes, we got to keep this going, and we need you. Our mission is to make climate action feel like an open invitation, something every urban person can see themselves doing. Real places, real people, real solutions, not just for the experts, but for everyone. If your brand believes in bringing more people to the regenerative table, then let's partner up. Thank you for listening to Season 3, and let's get back into it.
Great. Well, I'm going to put you down.
Sounds good.
Hold.
Yeah,
I've-
we'll do it.
I've done this on the podcast before. I'm like, hey, so you're gonna go do it? Like one of our guests, RJ Smith from one of my favorite shows on ABC, The Rookie. He's never planted a tree before, and I was like, well, I'm doing one this coming weekend. You're gonna join?
Awesome.
And I put him on the spot. And he's like, oh man, I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about, I'll tell you, because kicking and screaming for me into technology was something that like it's painstaking.
Yeah.
Like everything is on the computer. I almost said everything's computer. That would have
Everything is computer.
everything's on computer, everything's on phone, everything's on social media.
Mhm.
And I feel like storytelling is evolving right in front of our eyes, and we're seeing it,
Mhm.
right? And I'm just curious, like, you guys are a good barometer for that. You guys probably see it even unfold much more than I do. So give us some clues on where storytelling is going and how you guys are incorporating social media and some of the younger folk, like 18 to 25 is one of a target demographic I like to talk about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if any of them are listening, they should like come to GPB and connect, because yeah, that's always that audience that like they've got so much going on and like everyone sort of wants to be part of their world. So
Right.
it's like hard to get their attention. But yeah, I mean, I think in conferences recently, the like vertical videos have been like everything, it's just like shift to vertical videos, like vertical. And then like they were saying like, if you're planning a 4-show series, like have budget for one of those to be on YouTube, because like YouTube is like the place where everyone goes to see their stories and like get the content. So I think it's like from like a public media perspective, I think it's shifting from just like we can't just be on TV, right? And we haven't been for a while, but I think like the priority to get into like YouTube and social media is higher now than it ever was.
Absolutely. Yeah, certainly with like TikTok, right, being one of the dominant platforms that demographic uses. It's quick, it's fast.
Right.
They don't have time. They're flipping. I'm watching my 16-year-old just flip,
Right.
And we got to find ways. One of the things that I have been racking my brain about is how do we get them to care, right? How do we get them to stop? If they're going to scroll through something, how do we get them to stop
Right.
and look at this and understand it? And you got 5 seconds.
Right.
You don't have 30 seconds. You don't have
Yeah.
a minute. You've got 5 seconds to get them in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just one of those things that we have to start thinking about if we're going to start thinking creatively, and how to attract an audience that I'm hoping that they will help change the shape of our planet
Right.
in the future,
Yeah. So getting them to care, getting them to slow down, to yeah, I mean, because it even like I remember being a kid and like going to the zoo, like rainforest at the zoo, and they had like the decimation of the rainforests, and it was
Right.
just like, what? Oh, well, I mean, it's shrinking right now. I'm 8. Like, what am I supposed to do about that? So you sort of like plant that seed where it's just like that, it's happening, and there's nothing I can do. But then you realize you're like an adult, and you do have options. You can like potentially like do something about it. So. Yeah, I mean, I think getting them to see the stories, but man, Jamie, if you know how to get an interest of a 18 to 25-year-old,
So,
love your secrets.
well, I mean, I don't know. I think what we've got someone in the room that we can consult with. You know, he's in that demographic. But
Liam, come on down.
yeah, let's chat, Liam. But the thing I think is what doesn't work is being browbeat.
Yeah.
And I find that, and I've written a lot of comments lately for all the climate movements that focus on young people yelling at politicians. I'm like, they're never going to change, right? But how do we get them to not feel so hopeless, right? And that, I think, is if we could find the way to attract them, and I think it's through changing the narrative and changing the fact that we can make a difference, and we literally can't. Like, I think with simple things, and that's why I thought, and I hate to talk about this so often, but it just got passed on Tuesday, but I think a library transition plan where a county is saying yes to sustainable landscapes,
Right.
yes to pollinator habitat, yes to fruiting trees at public spaces.
Yeah.
They're saying yes to these things. They're saying that they want to change. I think that kids see that. And if we could find a way to amplify that message and say that, imagine if every library in the state of Georgia changed.
Right.
Imagine what a climate win that is.
Yeah.
And I think we constantly look at the things that are so hard to solve.
Yeah. So big and like so in the rainforest that you don't interact with it every day, right?
No.
But you potentially do interact with like the space near your library or in your park.
Yeah. I always say this, how are we going to get people to understand how to fix the big problems, the rainforest, like deforestation, water issues? Look at the flooding that has happened just recently, right? How are we going to ever get to fix those big issues if we can't solve the small ones?
Right. And then the small ones like lead to bigger change. Like you said, I mean, it's DeKalb now, but if it's like even just one more county or, I mean, that's making a difference. Like one library is making a difference.
Huge.
And it's not, and it shows that it's not unattainable, that like, it's just like slight tweak in how you like plant plants and like encourage pollinators. Like it sounds very achievable and not like, oh, like it's wild hope, right? It's
That's right.
Full circle.
Yeah. And I think that we need to find a way to make those movements trendy, because a lot of the environmental movement has been co-opted by people that the old hippies, the people that are in their 70s now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're in their 70s or 80s now,
Yeah.
right? And they're not, young people are not gravitating towards that. So I think storytelling, for me, I think that storytelling is going to have to be multifaceted. It's going to have to be applicable for TikTok. It's going to have to be quick. We're going to have to start partnering with, and I've been saying this for a while, we're going to start partnering with organizations and things that the kids are listening to. Music artists.
Yeah.
Going back to our conversation earlier, like partnering with people like Taylor Swift, which she's a huge advocate. So for this kind of thing. But I think that's how we get this in the zeitgeist. That's how we get kids interested. I don't have a special sauce. You asked me for like a perfect thing, but I think that works.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
No, I mean, I think that makes sense because, I mean, any kid, like even and when we were kids, I mean, you had your heroes, and if they said like, I mean, back then they were just like, eat the cereal, but like they were like,
Oh yeah,
they
were pushing corn syrup hard,
so hard, yeah.
Corn of all products,
all the sugary goodness.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. So, but they're sort of that age too, right? So then it's also like, how do you connect with them?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think you're right. Like the short, it's got to be quick.
I'm kind of the same way. I'm a big kid, and I love really intelligent communication, and I think that's one of the things that would be really fascinating to work on, is like a campaign that is really designed for 18 to 25-year-olds.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's like a lot of money in that too, right? I mean, I'm sure there's people trying to do it. It just seems like this elusive thing that we all want to connect with those ages. but it's hard, and we're all struggling with
Well,
that.
you know why? It's the almighty dollar. So
Right,
it's
exactly.
economics,
Yeah,
right?
right.
They're not the main purchasers of products yet, right? Um, I feel like I don't want to indoctrinate them while they're young. I'm not saying that we should, but they are eventually going to be purchasers of products. So it's good to onboard them. I don't want to use indoctrinate, but onboard them to these theories and ideas.
Yeah.
Just FYI, we're doing a regenerative youth summit
Oh, nice.
soon, and we're going to do it at two places, one in Atlanta and one in Decatur. The one in Decatur is September 4th, and its focus is teaching them about the opportunities in the green industry.
Oh,
It's
that's
18 to
awesome.
25-year-olds because
Yeah.
they're getting these degrees.
Right. They said to code, and now that's like a worthless, or I mean,
Yeah.
it's harder to, yeah.
They're getting these degrees
Right.
at these universities. They're going to Emory for all these really amazing sustainability degrees. They're going to Tech for these. Where are they going? And most of the jobs that society or the corporations tell them are like working for Coca-Cola, ESG, or working for Jamestown Properties. And those are all great places to land, but there are so many opportunities in green jobs. Like there's so much innovative stuff happening just in Atlanta and solar.
Right.
Oh
yeah.
That they're not aware of. So
Yeah.
we're bringing a summit together to teach that age group about the opportunities, because I'd say about 50% of them are going to be actively looking for jobs, but the rest of them, like they're just interested.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it's like, as a kid, when you're like, what do you want to do? You look around and you're like, nurse, teacher. If you don't know what's out there, like, how do you know you want to do it? And it's easy to be like, I want to be a teacher, because you know exactly what that means. But like,
Right.
there's so many different interests that like all these other jobs. So that's amazing. I do
Media.
also media. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, if you go before the 18-year-old and you try to do like the child, PBS Kids has like fantastic shows for kids, and it's not like commercial breaks with like trying to sell cereal. It's, giving them the tools to be more socially and emotionally intelligent, and and to be aware of their world and their communities. So that's a good place to start too.
Yeah. Be awesome to teach young kids to be connected. So the next section I have is to talk about empathy.
Okay.
And that's where we'll close, because I think a lot of the solutions we're asking for in the environmental space is important to embody empathy when we're solving these problems. Like you have to have empathy to want to solve these problems, and I have a habit of like walking on the sidewalk and making sure I'm not stepping on ants.
Yes.
I
move worms.
You do. You're one of those people.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. They're just so sad.
It drives my wife crazy. Do
you do it too?
Yes. After it rains or anything, and I'm like, oh my God, the earthworm's never going to make it across the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I did read that that's a part of their thing. That's what they do. Like,
oh, really?
They just dry up and die, and that's part of their life cycle. I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, I guess that makes me feel bad if I pass one and I don't do it. Like, okay, just part of the life cycle.
Well, they're
It's
moving,
okay.
and also they're moving out of the grass that has been sprayed with 100 different chemicals. I'm like, yeah, you're probably better off moving into the sidewalk and dying. But no, I do that too. Like, and I constantly, like, even at the beach recently when we were in St. Martin, I moved this bee that was like tumbling across the beach.
I've done that from a pool. I'm like, it's still alive.
Yeah.
Like, get up there.
Yeah.
Yep. My mother-in-law gathered a hermit crab shell, and the hermit crab was still in it. So we walked it back to the beach, because I'm like, no, you can't. You gotta compassion.
Keep them worried. So
Empathy.
compassion, empathy, and the role that plays. I think that teaching people that, or maybe modeling that, is super important to get kids, young people involved. Like, we have to program that. And I'm curious, like, what is your take on that? Like, how do we, through, our network and through, storytelling, how do we get kids to be a little bit more empathetic?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I have to point to Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, right? Like, the whole point of that show is social emotional intelligence, and like connecting to your feelings, and like it's okay to be mad, like take a breath, and like all the things that it teaches kids to just like, it's okay to have emotions and stuff, but also like compassion. And So I think that's a good place to start. That, it's as simple as watching PBS Kids, Jamie.
Oh my God. Okay.
Turn to your local GPB station now.
That is the most shameless plug I've ever heard. And it's perfect though. But I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
And, and modeling the behavior and connecting, like taking your kids to in the community and like showing them what is possible. And I don't have kids, so it's like it's hard. I mean, just like take them out every weekend and like show, I don't know. But I think the more they see and the more they experience connections with people, I think that just teaches empathy, right? Or you hope it does.
Yeah. I think empathy is what I think is one of the most interesting guiding forces to solve some of these environmental issues. Again, like I said, you have to love and respect the planet in order to want to solve the problems.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly like, trying to, like beat it into my child, not physically, mentally. I'm mentally like
mental beating.
You need to protect this planet. Like this is it. And and she constantly looks at me and is like, this is your fault. Like, what did you do?
Right.
Like I'm trying, kiddo. But yeah, so like we constantly instill, I think that's a better word than beating it into your child.
Yeah.
We constantly instill empathy as we're raising her to kind of be like a global citizen and understand like this world is big. And I think that's one of the things. Empathy is so important, and connection to your community. I feel like a community that is not connected can never solve any issues.
Yeah. Like, and because they don't, I mean, they go inside and then it's just what you're feeling and you're not, making those connections. But I do want to say that like Compassionate Atlanta, I feel like is like,
love them.
Right there, right? I mean, doing the work compassionate for like everything, for the environment, for yourself, for others.
Yep.
Like, I mean, they really sort of span the gamut in like empathy and compassion. So we love them.
Shout out.
Yeah.
So Leanne, if you're listening.
Right.
CompassionCon's coming back. Good Lord.
I
Another
know.
year.
October 26th, Sunday from 1 to 5. It's going to be My Neighbor Day is going to be there too. Speaking about Daniel Tiger, he's going to be there. He's
amazing.
A rock star in the kid world.
He is.
So yeah, we love being with Compassionate Atlanta because it's, they have sort of like this bigger picture. We've got Daniel Tiger's neighborhood, so we sort of bring the hood, but then they have like this whole other space where everybody's welcome to like enjoy and learn and grow. So I love that.
Awesome. Well, I think that we're leaving on a good note.
Yeah.
We talked about empathy. We talked about connecting. We talked about storytelling. I really appreciate your work and your time, and thank you for doing what you do. It is so important. Especially today.
Jamie, thank you. Yeah, thanks for this opportunity, and keep moving, keep plugging along.
I'm trying my best. Every year it gets a little bit harder. I'm like, I'm 48 this year. I'm pushing 50.
Yeah, but look at how much you've like done. I mean, like I said, it may. I mean, you're next. You're picturing the next steps, right? But like celebrating what you did. So I hope you are.
Yeah, well, I am.
Good.
I'm being good. I'm being kind to myself these days. I'm trying.
Excellent.
I'm definitely trying.
Awesome.
So, thank you so much for doing this. It's been really, really awesome.
Yeah, it was
and
fun.
Thanks for the studio space. This is a lot swankier than I'm used to.
It's fun, yeah. Hey, I mean, you're partner at GPB. We gotta bring it, right?
I love it. It's like I was telling you before. We have been in warehouses. We have been poolside, I think. So we've been just about everywhere.
That's fun.
No, it's fun. It's fun. I think we've been drinking cocktails at one point in time.
Nice. So that's like a nice tone. Like you never know what it's going to be. I'm sure that like helps. Tell different stories.
Totally. Well, thank you again. Appreciate it. Much love to GPB, and thank you for having me. And Roots Down Regenerative AF Podcast. I'm out. Thank you so much for being here.
That's it for today's episode of Regenerative AF Podcast. This podcast exists to show that regeneration isn't just possible, it's for everyone. Because the more people at the party, the better. So follow, share, and invite someone new next week.